You're willing in your addiction to sacrifice all of the beauty you have in your life, whether you're married or you have a good family or a great career or financial stability, a great reputation, and yet you're putting all that at risk and you're willing to sacrifice all of that for your addiction. Hey guys, I'm behavioral health and sex addiction recovery coach Rob Lopicola, and today I want to ask you a question. So I hope that you'll throw a comment on this video, and I want to hear from you about what you're battling with in your sex and meth addiction. What is your strongest compulsion that is keeping you hooked in your addiction, whether it's sex addiction, meth addiction, or both addictions? What's keeping you hooked? What's your fear of changing? What is keeping the grip of your sex and or meth addiction so tightly wound around you and keeping you in a trance-like state living in your addiction? What is so captivating for you that you seemingly can't escape the grip of your sex or meth addiction? And I'd like to know from you what you think you need to break the spell of your sex and meth addiction. And the reason why I'm asking you that is, one, I'm assuming you're here because you're battling with sex addiction or meth addiction or both, and you are researching ways to break free from your addiction. And odds are, if you're here, you've been searching through Google and YouTube on ways to break the spell of sex and meth addiction. Perhaps you've done some research on what is sex addiction and how strong is meth addiction and what are the consequences of these addictions. So by now you probably have some knowledge of where you're at and what you're looking for and what these addictions all mean. Yet, in spite of that knowledge, you're still in a trance when it comes to your sex and meth addiction, and you're probably at a point of hopelessness where you feel like this will never change. You're in a hopeless condition that this sex addiction and meth addiction is something that you just can't escape. And you're in a hopeless state of mind and body. And perhaps you're in a very desperate state of mind and body where you are potentially putting your marriage, your job, your social standing, your freedom, if you're in illegal activity, you're putting your freedom at risk, and you're willing in your addiction to sacrifice all of the beauty you have in your life, whether you're married or you have a good family or a great career or financial stability, a great reputation, and yet you're putting all that at risk and you're willing to sacrifice all of that for your addiction. And I get it. I mean, I was there. I was an NBC weatherman. I was an international fitness model. And seemingly, I had a life of success and prosperity. And I was smart. I'm a smart guy. But being smart and successful played no role when it came to the insanity of my sex and meth addiction. All the knowledge, all my success, all my intellect meant nothing when it came to the powerful force of my meth and sex addiction. And it got to the point where I ended bankrupt, homeless, hopeless, totally desperate, and ultimately had cyber sex with a high school teen and went to prison. So I went from a TV weatherman, success and prosperity seemingly, to homeless, sleeping on park benches and friends' couches, and I just couldn't break away from the grip of sex and meth, and met an 18-year-old on Craigslist who ultimately was 15 and had cyber sex and went to prison for that. And if you're actively sex addicted or method sex addicted, it's probable you've committed illegal activity yourself. A lot of sex addicts I coach and speak with are having sex in public parks and public restrooms. Meth addicts are buying methamphetamine and driving in the car with meth in the trunk. And that's illegal. You can get arrested for this and possibly do prison time. So if you're here, it's probable you've been committing illegal activity. And hey, look, I have no judgment, but what I'm saying is I really want you to take a look at your meth and sex addiction and what it the situations you're putting yourself in. Just because you haven't been caught doesn't mean it's okay. And I really want to take this seriously with you. I really want you to sit back and say, wow, I have been committing illegal activity and I could go to prison and destroy my whole life. I want you to really sit with that and meditate on that. Now, I'm not here to frighten you. I'm certainly not here to be dramatic, but that's the reality of many sex and meth addicts. Now, there are a lot of sex addicts that aren't committing anything illegal. You're addicted to pornography and masturbation, and anonymous sex and going to sex clubs, and methamphetamine users. Perhaps you're not buying the meth and you're not driving with it, but you're going to meth parties and you're getting high on meth for weekends. Anyway, you're just out of control. However you want to look at the level or the magnitude of your sex and meth addiction, you're out of control and you're miserable. And you live life wearing a mask, you're fake, you go around with your friends that aren't in your meth addicted lifestyle or your sex addicted lifestyle, and you're laughing like everything's okay, but you're not. You're self loathing and you isolate, you're carrying secrets and you feel shameful. Shame is a huge consequence of sex addiction, and meth addiction is just, boy, what a life to be meth addicted and not being able to break free. Most of you who are meth addicted, it feels so good that life without meth becomes boring and mundane. I was meth addicted for 2 years, and I'll tell you, I didn't really know what my life was going to be like. I thought it'd be boring, mundane, and what is sex going to be like without meth? And my life will just be boring without methamphetamine and without all of these chaotic sexual experiences. My sex life is going to be boring and mundane. And I lived with a lifestyle that was just charged with addictions to certain sexual behaviors and methamphetamine. And for years, I was alcoholic. Before I discovered methamphetamine, I was alcoholic. And the whole drive behind my alcoholism and my meth use was to enhance my sex addiction, to enhance sexual euphoria, because my core addiction is sex addiction. And ultimately, it destroyed my entire life. And when I got arrested, I wanted to die. I literally, and before I got arrested, I didn't care if I died as long as I was high on meth having sex. That's where my life took me, from a successful NBC weatherman, and I was so happy in my career. Gave it all the way. Gave it all the way. And I got to the point where I didn't care if I died as long as I died high having sex. I'm just being real with you. I'm just being raw. This is where my addictions took me. Now, people that aren't addicted to sex or methamphetamine, they can't grasp that. They don't understand that. But you do. That's why you're here. You get it. You understand. And so do I. But I'm on the other side of where you're at right now. I have many years behind me now. I'm free from meth addiction. I'm free from alcohol addiction. And I'm free from an active, sexually addictive lifestyle. I no longer am involved in compulsive sexual activity. And it's amazing. And I never thought I could be here. And I want to help you get there. So I ask you again, when I started this video, I'm going to ask you again now. And I want you to comment below. If you don't, you don't. But what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do to finally change your life? And all I'm asking of you is something so simple. Throw a comment below. I want to know what is keeping you in your meth or sex addiction. And I want to know what is so captivating to you about your meth and sex addiction. What is keeping you? What do you believe you're getting out of your sex and meth addiction? And I want to know what that is for you. And I also want to know what you think you need. What do you believe? What do you think you need in your life to finally break the spell of your sex and meth addiction? And again, I'm sure you have some knowledge now. You've done your research. You know where you're at. And you're at a point now where you're desperate and feeling possibly hopeless. And you feel there's no way out. And we're nearly 8, 9, 10 minutes in this video. And if you're still here, well, you're right where you need to be. And I want to help you. And I do want to shed a little bit of light on a couple of strategies that I needed to do early in my recovery. And first of all, I needed to be to the point where I was done. I needed to have enough pain of staying the same that the pain of change was less. Now, I did get arrested and I did go to jail and ultimately went to prison. But I have to tell you, if any of you have ever been arrested or any of you have ever been in jail or prison, the drugs, the meth, cocaine, sex, it's all in there. So, and I had some money. My father would put plenty of money in my commissary, so I had money in there, and I could have certainly bought the drugs that were available from other inmates. And how it got in there, well, that's a whole other story, but it's in there. And obviously sex. So I was to the point where I was done. The pain of change was less than the pain of staying the same. And I got to ask you, are you at that point? I mean, that's really a strategy, if there is one, that you need to reach for you to finally start changing your life. Are you done? Is it more painful? Truly think about this. Is it more painful for you to keep doing what you're doing? Or is it more painful to change? What's the pain level? I had to get to the point again where it was less painful to change than stay the same. And I got to be honest with you, both options were painful. I was going into an unknown territory. I didn't know who I was going to be without meth and all of these sexually compulsive behaviors. I didn't know what I was going to be like. But I knew that going down the road I was going, once I got arrested and I really hit a point in my life where I was just humiliated and broken, and now I'm in handcuffs. I'm in jail. I had to. I mean, that was a wake-up call for me. What's going to be your wake-up call? Because I have news for you. Your meth and sex addiction is not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. I guarantee it. Your life is only going to get worse. And I've pointed this out in one or two of my last videos. There's only one direction if you continue in your sex and meth addiction: total destruction. There's no other avenue for you. There's no other way for your active life in addiction to go. There is no other way. You're going to go down toward destruction. You're going to lose your marriage, your wife, your husband, whoever. They're going to leave you. Your relationships will fail. You're going to isolate, be more shameful. You're going to start thinking about suicide, maybe attempting suicide. Nearly 20% of sex addicts attempt suicide. And over 70% think about it. Are you thinking about suicide? Are you to such a hopeless point that you're thinking about ending your life? Because you're so deeply entrenched in your sex addiction and or meth addiction. So are you done? And I can't make you done. My coaching programs, my one-on-one coaching, I can't make you done. You have to be done. And if you're done, if you're truly done, I can help you. If you're truly done, you can get well and you can change your life. Where's your pain? Do you believe today it's going to be less painful to change than stay the same? And if you're done, you're ready. So that was a sort of a strategy that I had to come to. It kind of came through me as opposed to a strategy I had to learn. It was a strategy that came through me where I was done. I was truly done. And I was terrified to change. And another strategy that I had to adopt and take on was practicing saying no. And I'm going to tell you. So I'm now in prison, and I had a group of guys offer me methamphetamine in prison. And they were going to go up in a cell up there, up on the second floor, and they were going to get high on meth and probably have sex. And I said no. Because I felt like, well, how bad does it have to get for me? How much loss and pain do I need to experience in my life till I'm done? And I was done when I got arrested. And believe me, it was tough to say no. Because if you're like me, if you say no to your next meth party or to your next hookup on Grindr, you're going to feel like you're missing out. You're missing out on a hot, sexy opportunity. You're only missing out on more self-loathing and self-hatred and And this addiction that's just going to destroy you, that's all you're missing out on. The illusion is you're missing out, but the reality is you're just suffocating yourself more and more by what you think is going to make you feel good, even if it's just for 5 minutes. I looked up in that room for a little while and I felt like I was missing out. They're having fun up there. But I was done. And I was willing to start practicing saying no. I had to pay a price to go from a life that was sex and meth addicted to a life where I'm a thriving, peaceful, successful individual, where I can learn healthy sexual expression free from the shame, the guilt, the isolation, or all the secrets. I had to pay a price. It's not going to come free. And the price I had to pay was pain. I had to feel the pain that was coming up, welling up in me. Because when you get cravings and you get urges to act out in your sex or go get high on crystal meth, it's that stuff coming up that you have to start feeling. And you're going to have to pay a price if you want to get clean and straighten out your life. You're going to have to start feeling that stuff. And you need help to do that. That's why 12-step meetings work. Coaching programs work when you're part of a community, because you need to be around like-minded people that understand, because you can't do it alone. It's too daunting. But when you do it with coaching and you do it with therapy or 12-step groups, it helps. You'll get yourself to where you want to be because you hold on to others who know where you're at. And another strategy, the third one, I'm going to close with this strategy today. And I had a coach, I had a mentor who taught me, coached me to change and transform my life. And I had to trust him. You know why I trusted him? Because he was where I was at and he had what I wanted. So I had to do what he did to get what he had. And that's what I offer you. That's what I offer you in my coaching programs. I want to be your mentor. I want to be your coach. If you have someone that has what you want, who's been where you're at, all you have to do is what he does to get what he has. And that's what my program provides. I have specialized programs where I can give you exactly what worked for me. They're powerful and they're very strategic. And it worked for me. And if you do what I did, it's going to work for you too. But you have to be done. You have to be willing to pay the price of transformation, if you will. The butterfly coming out of the cocoon. You have to pay the price of transition and transformation. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to have someone, a coach, go through strategies with you that will work? Are you willing to take the risk to go into the unknown, a place where you have no idea who you're going to be? And if you're willing and you're ready, I want to help you. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, I'll have the link below. I want you to go to my 10-step strategy session. It's a complimentary 30-minute strategy session. It's going to give you the first initial 10 steps to begin to change your life. And I want you to watch that video. I want you to watch it in solitude. I want you to sit in an environment where you're peaceful. You can pay attention. If you want, take notes. And then I want you to set up a complimentary 45-minute strategy call with me, one-on-one. I'm going to talk with you about where you're at right now in your sex addiction, your sexually addictive pattern, your lifestyle, offer you a strategy or two to change a core belief inside of you. Because if I can get inside of your head and change a core belief, that'll ripple out and start changing a lot of things about you. And then we're going to see if you're a fit for my 30-day Sex Addicts Recovery and Transformation Accelerator program. I'm telling you, this program will be the beginning of changing your entire life. I really want to help you. I know where you're at. I know the pain, the self-loathing. I know the shame and the isolation and the secrets and the hopelessness. I know what it feels like to want to die. I know what it feels like to be so broken. And I can help you put all the pieces of your life together. And in so doing, in waking you up, so to speak, to a brand new design for living, in that, you'll be able to save your marriage, your relationships, your reputation, your career, your financial stability, your future, and your life. I want you to take advantage of what I'm offering you today. And I'm so grateful you were here. And if you're still here nearly 20 minutes in, I'm wrapping it up now, we're done. If you're still here, I'm proud of you, because it really means that perhaps you're at the point where you're ready to change your life. I post a new video every Tuesday, guys, on my YouTube channel. This is for you. I want you to subscribe because I want you to always know when a new video is posted. Watch the video. I'm going to keep moving you forward, out of isolation, out of the shame, and that's what I want you to heal from, the shame of your addiction. And I want you to live a life with healthy sexual expression, where you're thriving and successful and peaceful and joyous. There is some joy in a real life where you're no longer in this darkness. I look forward to hearing from you. You have a great day, and thank you so much for joining me today.